today we are going to be talking about box plots. A box plot is a display that shows how the values in a data set are distributed or spread out. So it's a way to represent your data, just like all the others that we've been learning about. Okay? So we're going to create one so you can see what goes into making it, and that way it's a little bit easier once we start answering questions looking at box plots. Okay? So your step one is to order data from least to greatest. All right? So we're going to go ahead and do that. Step one, list the data in order from least to greatest. So my least is 78. Oh, I'm sorry, I have 75. Then 78. And we have two of those. And then 79. And then 80. And then 84. 85, 88, 89, 92, and 94. All right. Step 2 says find the least and greatest value. So the least is just your smallest number, okay, which is 75. And your greatest is your biggest number, which is 94. Step 3 says find the median. Remember, the median is your middle number, so you're going to cover one from the beginning and one from the end. I don't want to cross them out because we actually want to use this line of numbers again, okay? And you'll see in just a minute why. So one from the beginning, one from the end, and move my fingers in until I hopefully find the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and circle this. My middle is 84. And now we want to find the lower quartile. Okay, this is the median or the middle of the lower half of the data. So I'm actually going to cover, I'm going to use a sticky note. We don't need any of these numbers. Okay, we're just looking at the lower half of the data. So we want to find the middle of that set. So again, I'm going to use my fingers. I don't want to cross them out yet. And my lower quartile is 78 because 78 is the middle of these numbers right here. Now I'm going to do the same thing. First I'm going to write it down. Lower quartile is 78. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cover everything that is from the median and less. And now I'm going to find the middle of that set of numbers, which is 89. Okay? Now I'm going to uncover them so we can see all of them. Our upper quartile is 89. So notice we have three things circled, and I'm actually going to go ahead and circle 75, which is our least value, and 94, which is our greatest value. Okay? You're going to use these 5 points to make a box, hence why it's called a box plot. Okay? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put numbers where my circles are. So I have 75, and I'm going to go ahead and order these or number them a little bit clearer. So this would be 72, 76, 80, 84, 88, 92, 96. Okay, so they skip count by 2s. So I'm going to put a dot on 75, which would be in between 74 and 76, 78, 84, 89, which would be in between 88 and 90, and 94. Now notice my dots are not on those numbers, but they're hovering above it. Okay? You're going to use not the first one and not the last one, but you're going to use the 3 in the middle to make a box. And then you make a line through the middle. So there's your box. And it's also called a box and whisker because these make like little whiskers on the end. So this is our box and whisker. There's only one more thing that you can identify from a box and whisker plot, and it is that the inner quartile range, also known as the IQR, is the difference of the upper quartile, that's here, also known as Q3, this would be Q1, okay? All right. It's the inner quartile range of the box we created. So we're going to take Q3 and subtract Q1. Okay? So I have 89 minus my Q1, which was 78, and I am left with 11. So our IQR, which is Q3 minus Q1, is 11. Okay, we're going to look at the back and start talking about some different things. One thing I do want to mention is that each one of these sections, see how it's broken into 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, each one represents 25%, no matter how big or how small it is. So notice this next one looks bigger, but it's still only 25%. Your whole graph adds up to 100%. So where it starts and where it ends is 100, but each section is worth 25%. Okay? All right. The median. So notice we're looking at our graphs, and we have two of them on the same number line, and that's fine. Okay? We're finding the median of class A. So I do want you to notice that on the first column we're looking at class A, and here's class A. And then the second column we're looking at class B, and here's class B. It's the bottom box plot. Okay? I'm going to go through and do everything for the first box plot. So I'm going to look at class A only, just this top one. All right, the median is our middle dot in the box, and it is at 70. Lower quartile, okay, is the start of the box, and the start of my box A is at 50. Upper quartile is the end of the box, and it is at 80. The IQR is the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So it's upper quartile minus the lower quartile, which is 30. And our range is the greatest minus the least. So our greatest value for class A is 100 minus our least or our lowest number, which would be 30. So our range of our data is 70. 100 minus 30 is 70. I want you to pause the video and see if you can find the answers for class B. So 6 through 10. See if you can use the chart to find the pieces. All right, welcome back. The median for class B, so notice we're only looking at this bottom graph. Median is 60. The lower quartile is the start of the box. Now, if this is 50, halfway between 40 and 50 would be 45. The upper quartile is at, that's the end of the box, is at 80. Remember the IQR is the upper quartile minus the lower quartile, also known as Q3 minus Q1. 80 minus 45, if we need to, we can stack them. You get 35. And the range is the greatest minus the least. So our greatest for class B is at 90. So I have 90 minus our least, which is 20. 90 minus 20 gets me 70. If that's not what you got, I would fix it now. Now, true or false? Class A and Class B have the same median. So that's our middle line. Are our medians, which are these, the same? No. So this is false. Class A has a higher, lower quartile than Class B. So Class A, the lower quartile, is here. Class B is here. And yes, it is higher, also known as greater. And that is true. Class A and Class B have the same upper quartile. That's the end of the box. And if you notice, that's here. That is true. They are the same. They're both 80. So true. Class A has the largest interquartile range. Notice, we already found the interquartile range. It says Class A has the largest. That is false. We've noticed Class B is at 35. Class A is 30. So that is false. The range is the same for both classes. Our range we found was 70, and that is true. The same for both. All right. Thanks, guys.